Coming to you from the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans, by fans, where we don't get fancy. It's just friends talking about a team they love.
I'm Buck, and I hate the Raiders just as much as everybody else.
And I'm Bob.
Together, we're Buck and Bob, and we bring you this episode of Buck and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom. We're going to talk about the Chargers today. We'll probably touch a little bit on the last game and some of the controversial stuff going on with that, which is ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
How about those Chiefs?
Chiefs. Dude, ridiculous. The pass interference call that they're calling, everybody's complaining about it. Oh my God. I'm sorry, dude. He was there right at the right time.
Game.
But it wasn't pass interference.
It was, yeah. I mean, I can see where that complaint is coming from, but that timing on the hit is done in every single game, and they don't call it because it's in real time. When you're watching it, it seems almost instant. Yes, when you're the fan of that team, it sucks. But those calls aren't calls anytime. The penalty, the pass interference on the Bengals at the end of the Bengals game, that was seconds before, not literally seconds, but I mean, it was clearly before. It was when the camera came into view that was following the ball, when Rice came into view, the guy was already draped over him, and that was 10 yards before the ball got to him. I mean, we're talking apples and oranges here.
Yeah, and then on top of it, we're talking about this non-call, but nobody's talking about the bullshit calls. I mean, and the people that are talking about it are saying stupid statements like, oh, well, yeah, they had to make up for all the calls that went your way. Bro, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. They don't give makeup calls. That's not how it works. And it's absurd that you think that. And I do have to concede to you. I don't know what episode it was, but we talked about Gronk, and I claimed that Gronk wasn't stupid, and I retract my statement. I heard Gronk on a few different broadcasts this week, and my God, bro, he's an idiot. He's
a super likable guy.
Oh, he's super likable,
as hell,
but just a straight up idiot.
He's just, yeah. I mean, you can tell the guy's kind of floated on talent his whole life. He's never really had to dig in, and you know what I mean? I mean, he's not the smartest guy. He's not the sharpest tack in the drawer.
Yeah, he's not the brightest crowd. It's unfortunate because I'm just listening to him, and I think he just says what he thinks will make people laugh.
Yes.
I think that's so. I don't know that he's an actual idiot, but boy, he really makes it sound like it at some points. So
yeah, I don't enjoy him when he's on the talk shows. I don't enjoy it when he's on the sports talk shows. He's always playing that character, so to speak. I hope it's a character, because if he's really that dumb, well, man, that sucks. But yeah,
I mean, does it suck? I mean,
you know who he reminds me of is Warren Sapp. He did the same kind of thing. He did the exact thing.
Warren Sapp had some pretty. No, I think Warren Sapp was pretty intelligent. Like I'm just saying that because of his time on his time on Inside the NFL, he really came off to me as smart. But
so when you know what he reminded me of when I was watching him on the like the NFL live shows and that kind of thing is like, what do I do with my hands? It's almost like he didn't know what to do. Like he was like always looking around, and everybody else is looking at the camera or looking at one of the other sportscasters, and he just looked really uncomfortable, and I don't know. It seemed to me he did the same thing that Gronk does, where he just kind of says what he thinks will make people laugh, and I don't know. I didn't find Warren Sapp. I didn't enjoy watching him either.
I didn't see that. I mean, Sapp had one of the best quotes in like football history. Like he said, I get paid a king's ransom to play a kid's game. And I mean that's a cool statement. So yeah. I don't know.
I mean, you're right. You're right. He's
Gronk
a smarter guy.
Gronk would never come out up with that. He'd be like, yeah, I farted.
In the Tom Brady roast, he came up with that one joke, and like 3 people laughed. He's like, I came up with that one on my own.
But dude, I'm seriously done with the bullshit talk about the calls. There were tons of bullshit calls against the Chiefs. We gave them 3 4th down in the last drive. Like they were done. And only one of those 3 penalties was legit. So no, shut up. Goodbye. We're done talking about it. That's how I feel.
Well, we're not done talking about it because it's going to come up again, but that's okay. We're done talking about it for the moment.
Oh, God. I'm just so tired of the narrative. Just go back. You haven't been paying attention. You are being played. You are listening in to what you want to hear. It's not fact. It's the
same attention that the Patriots got, right? When they were in the middle of their dynasty, everything was Patriots suck. Patriots are doing this. The refs love the Patriots.
But the Patriots cheated. And Tom Brady cried every time he got touched.
These people legitimately think that the Chiefs are cheating with the refs. Did you see the picture of the ref that happened to pass Patrick Mahomes on the way into the stadium? Not into the stadium to like get dressed up, but like on the way to the field. Like this picture, and then people are like, "Oh, looks like Mahomes is,
Oh, you're talking about the AI pictures. Like those are all fake.
This one didn't look fake, man. I know that some of them are
like
clearly
this was where he's
and it's
kissing the refs, and
right.
It's absurd.
Okay, clearly, yeah, but this didn't look like this, and it didn't look like they were doing anything nefarious other than, hey, have a good game out there. Thanks, you too. That's what it looked like to me. I don't buy into any of that stuff, whether it was the Patriots or the Raiders or the Chiefs. I mean, the refs are chosen because of their lot in life and what they've accomplished. They're trustworthy people who, and they're vetted like crazy. They don't I can't go ref an NFL football game tomorrow. It's a lifelong process that these people go through. So I don't buy into it at all. Yes, we've seen it before. I can't remember the guy's name, but in basketball, he was betting on basketball games that he was reffing. So yeah, it's happened before, but I don't believe that happens at all in the NFL.
I mean, we could fix this whole problem. We could go back to the medieval ages, and when a ref gets something wrong, they are publicly flogged. With the cat of 9 tails, or a whip of some sort, and they're strung up in the on the 50-yard line, and they're whipped in front of everybody, and everybody is like, all right, I feel okay now.
Down to their skivvies. They got to be wearing underwear only in front of everybody.
We don't have to do that. We just we could just publicly flog them, and then everybody be happy. Take your lashes for getting it wrong. No, I'm kidding.
I just want to hear them have a press conference where they say, we would like to publicly apologize to Lamar Hunt and the Chiefs organization for screwing them over on numerous occasions, even though we still let them win.
It's absurd, man. It is so dumb, and I'm
let's
talk
about something else other than the refs in the last game.
All right.
And something I'm concerned with going forward is Mahomes doesn't seem to be finding his groove. He
did the second half.
And he pulls it together for drives, right? So I mean, it's not like he's lost, and I'm seriously concerned. But the offensive line seemed to play better in this last game, so I really kind of expected that to translate into more yards. And it just didn't.
Well, okay, so yeah, I don't like Mahomes. I'm not really sure about it. I was going to talk about it in the other segment, but Mahomes talked to the press. I've watched a couple of his press conferences like since the game, and he has realized he fell into a rut in practice where he was throwing the ball on top of the receiver, because in practice that's a catch, right? So he realized that he's been just throwing it on him instead of leading him like he would need to do in a real game. And I think that's a big step for him to realize what he's been doing kind of wrong. And and we've seen a lot of passes that were behind, the receiver, and that's because the receiver is expecting him to lead them. So they're starting to speed up right when the pass is thrown, and then they realize the pass was on their body, and their speed has actually made it so it's behind them now. So I think Mahomes really figured out this week what he's been doing wrong, and I think he'll be able to correct it this next week.
Yeah, that's huge, man. I mean, he's one of the smartest guys in the NFL, and if he's found a legitimate flaw, if he's not just saying that to give an excuse, just to kind of, that happens a lot too. Yeah, I figured something out. I think, my next game is going to be better. If he says something like that, I believe him. And if he can make that kind of adjustment, I mean, the Chargers are in trouble.
Well, did you hear what Bill Belichick said about Mahomes?
That he's the greatest of all time?
No,
I didn't.
That is not what he said.
He still thinks Tom Brady's.
I mean, I don't know. He didn't say anything to that stature.
If I was Bill Belichick, that's what I would say. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Everybody has been just shitting on Mahomes, and Bill was asked, and Bill said, I think it was amazing what he said after the game. He has won 3 games in a row, but instead of capitalizing on that, he talked about how they need to improve this, and this, and I need to improve this, and this, and we need to get better. And he took it all on his shoulders, and Bill was just like, this guy is a leader. This guy is one of the best, in the league. He's 3-0, but he's still humble. I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Sure.
I don't have the quote, but he really talked up Mahomes. So that was pretty cool.
I think most of the coaches around the NFL have nothing but respect for Mahomes. Not just his play on the field, but the way that he talks to the media, the way that he talks to other players. That when he gets hit on the field, he's like, hey, big, nice hit, big guy. And I know he's doing that so that he doesn't have him like tracking him down and getting all pissed off. But still, you've got to believe that in your heart to say it.
And even so, we're we're going to have a new president soon. And Mahomes' wife has been in some controversy for liking one of Trump's posts. And people are freaking out on her and kind of going after her. So Mahomes gets asked about that. And Mahomes says one of the best things I've ever heard. So I hate it when, I'm not going to use my platforms here, although very small compared to what we're talking about, but my gaming podcasts are pretty big, but I don't ever use that as an excuse to talk politics, because it's just something that shouldn't be done by people that don't actually know politics. So I love how what's his name? Is it Michael Douglas? No. Oh gosh, what's his name? The actor that says that always shies away from political talks. Kirk. No.
Douglas?
No. It's Michael Douglas. It's his son.
Douglas.
Okay. So every time he goes on, somebody tries to ask him about politics, he just says, dude, I'm a court jester. I play make believe on TV and movies. I have no right to tell you anything political. And that's where it's at. But so many people that are famous use this. Well, Mahomes was asked, and Mahomes said, "Hey, I'm not going to push any candidate. All I'm going to do is say, use my platform to tell people they have the right to vote and to vote on what is best for them and their families." And he was like, and if I hang out with people with different political beliefs, I don't care. I care how they treat other people. And it was so huge, because you look at a LeBron James, and that's the exact opposite of what Mahomes does. Like LeBron comes on press conferences and talks about politics when it's like, bro, we want to hear about the game. We don't care what your politics are. You barely graduated high school. We don't care about your politics. We don't give a shit. And it's so funny but yeah, dude, he is just he's an amazing dude, and I'm so happy he's our quarterback.
Oh, I know. I have been surprised and impressed with him just a bit more every single week since he's come to Kansas City. When he came here, we were just kind of happy that we finally drafted a quarterback in the first round. Even if it doesn't work out, at least they're over that hump, right? But then he played in that one game against Denver, in Alex Smith's last season, and he was amazing in that game, and we were like, this could be cool, I guess. And then that next season, it was magical. And every single week, he like you said, man, he's just a leader. He's a natural born leader. He's got just the right amount of charisma and personality and physical ability, and then the mental ability too, because there's plenty of guys that have the physical abilities that Patrick Mahomes does, but it's up here is the difference. That's what makes him great.
See, I screwed up, because before he played that game, I saw Patrick Mahomes in a steakhouse in Kansas City before he was ever anything, and I could have got a picture right there, and I didn't. Oh man! But it was the steakhouse on 19th and Main. It's right across from the strip club right there. I don't know what's the name of it. It's the oldest one in Kansas City. It's the one on Main. I think there's only one on Main.
Not Hereford House.
No, is that a strip club?
Oh, I thought you were talking about what's the name of the steak.
No.
I don't know strip clubs at all. I don't do strip clubs.
The steak. Oh, it's Bazookas. The steakhouse is across the street from there, right?
I delivered to Bazookas a few times, but
Interesting. Well, it's a steakhouse where they do where they age the meat like outside of a fridge. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a super good steakhouse, and he was there, and I did not talk to him and did not get a picture, but it was before he had ever played, and it was at a business dinner, and I was telling my boss who was there, dude, that's the new QB for the Chiefs. And I thought he was going to be good because Andy drafted him, but I did not think this good. I thought maybe McNabb good type of deal.
Yes, I agree. I was hoping for McNabb good. That would have been phenomenal.
But we got goat good.
We got Brady good. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that he's Brady yet. We'll still see there, but he's possible goat good. But the last thing I want to talk about the game is I listened to this podcast called Locked On Chiefs podcast. And they update every day, but I was listening to them, I don't know, like 2 days ago or something. They were talking about the game, and they were talking about the defensive line not doing their job and not getting things done. And they were talking about, number 90, Minihue isn't, you shouldn't count on him to help when it comes back. And I thought to myself, we're talking about the Falcons game. You guys need to check the stats. Yeah, there wasn't sacks, but you know how many pressures we got? Like, I don't understand how if they watched the game, how they didn't understand that we had great pressure in that
but it's
game.
A Chiefs podcast?
Yeah, it's Locked
they had
On
to watch
Chiefs.
the game. It does sound like they're just looking at stats and they're just commenting on stats because they did get pressure
a ton. And if you look deeper, it's kind of hard to find QB pressures and those types of things. You can find fantasy stats all over the place. Anything that gets you a point in fantasy, you can find that on all the sites. But getting all of the stats is kind of a bitch. If anybody can help me, know a site that actually will show me all of it, and I can, I have NFL.com and I download the whole 15-page thing, and it's a lot of good information, but I'm just curious if you could tell me I just a site where I can, click the different stats and they come to the top type of deal. I would really like that. But yeah, they talked about the defensive line like it was having problems, and I think we're stuffing the run unbelievable on our team, and we got a ton of freaking pressure that game. And if you look at it's a trap stat to look at the yards the Chiefs have given up, because you need to look at the points.
Yeah, that's at the end of the game, that's what matters.
That's the bread and butter, and we have done amazing there. So, yeah, I didn't get how they were so down on the defensive line, because the defensive line in the game against the Falcons was top notch. Anything else?
Well, when you say that the defense giving up points, they've been phenomenal there. They haven't been phenomenal. They've been good enough to win 3 games, but we've given up 62 points. That's not great defense.
How does that scale up to the rest of the league?
I'm only looking at the division right now. So the Raiders have given up 81, so they've given up way more. But the Chargers and Broncos have only given up 33 and 46. So I mean, and the Broncos are 1-2. They've only given up 46 points, so they haven't scored a lot either. But I mean, we're definitely second in the AFC West. So phenomenal. I just disagree with that word, maybe. But I mean, good enough to win 3 games. And at the end of the day, it's not just the defense, right? It's the offense and defense and special teams together. It's the whole team. So we've given up 62 points, but we've scored 75 total. That equals 3 wins. So the defense, and that,
but you also have to look into the fact that Mahomes has thrown 4 picks. You know, like we've had Carson Steele fumbled. We've given up turnovers that are huge. If you look at it, like, we are run stopping. I mean, we stopped Robinson last week, and that guy's been on fire.
Yeah, I would definitely say that our running game, our running defense, is
And
probably the strength of the defense right now.
Red zone defense too.
But I still hold fast to the thought that, you know, Spags historically has always started off slow. It takes a while for the defense to mesh. But come playoff time, that defense is going to be top notch, at least of the guys that are healthy, because, you know, you never know how injuries are going to bite you. But they're going to be playing at the top of their game. So I'm less worried about the defense right now than I am the offense. So I still don't know who's going to start left tackle, but I'm pretty sure at this point it's probably going to be Wanye. I think he did a pretty good job last game. We didn't hear his name a whole lot, so he wasn't getting flagged.
Yeah, but that's going to make Mahomes more comfortable too.
Yes, I agree. So I think we've got a pretty good handle on this game. You know, there's a lot of injuries we haven't talked about yet.
Hold on. What game? We're still talking about the last game.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, this show is about the pregame for the Chargers.
If
so that's
you are done, then we can move on to the next game. So we're taking on the San Diego Superchargers.
Superchargers?
That's what, what's his name? Always called him. The same guy that did the Raiders.
Al Michaels?
No, Jesus. Oh my gosh. The guy that did prime time for the majority of our lives.
Yeah.
He could go all the way. Okay. Guys, that's what our trivia question for this week. Who is that?
No, we're not using them as a Google. That's not how our trivia works.
Yeah, but you should know who I'm talking about, though. You should know. Well,
I remember
I can't think of his name.
I thought it was Al Michaels.
It's definitely not Al Michaels.
All right.
But I could be wrong, I guess. All right, so what do you want to talk about? Well, here, like, maybe we should do, I don't even know where to start here. Should we do we did bring a new tight end onto
let's just kind of go in order.
Yeah, onto the practice squad. Jody Fortson is back with us, and I've thought this guy looked good many, many times, and he just hasn't seemed to get his shot. So,
yeah, usually when a player plays with us and they make an impact negatively, I remember that name. Like, I'm never going to ever want Kadarius Toney to come back to this team, right? That's going to stick in my craw. So Jody Fortson, I definitely remember him playing. I don't remember too much of what he did, but that's probably a good thing, because if he wasn't playing for the Chiefs, he wasn't doing great, but he wasn't screwing up a lot because I didn't hate him. Like,
I'm pretty sure he played a bit last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, and the year before, maybe too. I
Yeah, I
think.
feel like it was a couple of years ago, but yeah, I definitely didn't look that up. I hadn't even heard that before we started talking today. Um, so yeah, I mean that's cool. Give him a chance. Before he's stuck behind the greatest tight end to ever play, but Kelsey is definitely looking a little bit more pedestrian right now. Maybe he's kind of saving his best for the playoffs, like he
Well,
did last year. But
we could talk about Kelsey. So everybody's been down on Kelsey, but I, just because of fantasy, I'm struggling at the tight end spot, and it it forced me to try to find another tight end. Like Ingram keeps getting hurt for me, and I keep having to play just some random tight end I pull out from waivers. But if you look at this through 3 weeks, there's something going on with tight ends across the board. Something is up with tight ends. Their production is down. There's only one tight end in the entire league that has over 200 yards in 3 games.
I wonder
It's
if it's a
weird.
product of that new two safety deep defense, or the reemergence of the two safeties deep. I wonder if that's kind of
You
mucking up the works, except for
you would think
the
that would open
Cincinnati
them
game
up.
against the Chiefs. You would
Yeah.
think. I mean, when we played the Bengals, remember their tight ends just absolutely tore us up that game.
But still though, there's not really like Travis Kelce was one of the guys that had wideout numbers last year. There's really only like 2 guys with wideout numbers, like Brock Bowers and Dallas Goedert. I mean, that's really the only 2. That there is guys with a lot of receptions, but I mean, it's like something's going on with the tight ends across the league, and I
That's
don't
something to
know.
watch.
I mean, like even George Kittle is. He has 11 receptions out of 13 targets for 116 yards. And that's Kittle. I mean, lots of people
Yeah.
said he was better than Kelsey last year. And it's weird. It's actually like there's something going on in the league with tight ends. And I don't know what it is, but they are down on production as opposed to the last few years.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to kind of go back and look at maybe what the tight end production had been at this point last year, just to kind of see
I'm
if I
pretty
can
sure
find
it
those
was
stats.
because last year I was playing 2 tight ends in my freaking fantasy league. Like I was playing one in the tweeter spot. I forget what's it called.
I don't know. I haven't played fantasy in years.
Yeah, I can't think of what it's called. Flex. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
something's
need to get
up
back into that though.
with tight ends. Something's up.
Yeah, it's something to watch. Something's definitely up with Kelsey. Although I'm not worried about it. I mean, he doesn't look old. He doesn't look slow. He just looks covered.
Yeah.
And he doesn't break a lot of tackles anymore. Like he doesn't, he still tries, and it kind of makes me nervous. I'm worried about him getting hurt. But he's lost a step. But he knows what this means. I think he's lost a step.
I don't know that he has. I'm not gonna say that yet because he does look super covered. I think he's lost he's lost Patrick's trust. That I think could be.
I don't know, man.
Well,
I don't know if I buy into that one. If he's lost Patrick's trust, what has he done? Something off the field? Because I haven't seen anything on the field that would cause me to think that Mahomes doesn't trust him anymore.
no,
Maybe on the practice field?
no. I think that Mahomes knows he's on his way out and wanting to get his new guy and prioritizing Rice.
Okay.
I think Kelsey might even be telling him to do that too. This is all speculation, but I mean, I'm sure they're still great friends, but
oh, sure.
Travis just might be like, "Hey, man, I'm already acting in 2 different shows. I've got, my girl is the most popular person on earth.
He's kind of successful.
And I just think I'm probably going to be on my way out. So maybe you should find like another guy that really, and I've heard him on New Heights and he doesn't seem to even care. He is.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. I think he cares about winning.
Yeah, if he's pulling all of these defenders over and Red Rice and other people are getting open, I think he's happy with it. I mean, he's already got the stats to be first ballot Hall of Fame. I mean, he's got it all. So, I mean, does he really need?
He's always been about the team, too. He's never been a me guy. He's never cried for the ball.
He might have in his younger years.
I don't remember that. It's possible. But, I mean, for a majority of his career, I mean, I guess he hasn't had to complain because he's been Kelsey, and so he's going to get his touches. But I don't know. I just see him going out with grace and just having fun with all of it.
Yep.
He's enjoying the ride right now.
Yep, he's got that stash. I think he needs to cut the stash. But with the stash, we are going to call the timeout. And we're back from timeout. So let's get into like the nitty gritty. So we're going in to fight a Chargers team that's kind of banged up. Do you want to tell us about what's going on with their whole team?
Yeah, so the big story is Justin Herbert, right? He hurt himself. He did have some limited practice time this week, is the latest news. So, I mean, it's still possible he could play. And in my experience, when a hurt quarterback comes out and plays against my Kansas City Chiefs, they always do well. So that scares me.
This is a trap game for sure with all the injuries.
Yeah. But so as far as starters are concerned, what do we got here? Josh Palmer, wide receiver. So he's backed up by Simi Fehoko. So not a name that we've heard a whole lot of, but you never know what he could do on the field. And then Jasir Taylor, who's a cornerback. So he's limited right now. So he's actually a nickelback, and he's their only listed nickelback. So they don't have a backup for him listed. I'm sure that somebody will kind of slide in there. They're not going to change their whole defensive scheme just because of one injury. But so we got another guy, Junior Colson, a linebacker. Now he's a backup. And then Bud Dupree, who's a backup defensive end. He's questionable as well. So they're all questionable. Nobody is out officially yet. So,
I mean,
but as far as
nickelback is pretty important though. Like for us, I think we're mostly using Connor, and you kind of need a mix between a safety and a corner there. They're in the midfield. They're kind of a mix between a safety, corner, and linebacker. They often rush the passer. They often do a lot of different stuff, and they control the middle of the field. Oftentimes, a nickelback is when you have 3 corners on the field, and so it could be could be pretty big for our guy in the middle of the field.
Well, let's hope, because we could use a good game offensively, and not just offensively, because I think our running backs have actually been okay. But man, I'd really like to see a little more air. I'd really like to see some more receiving yards. So hopefully that's what that nickelback being out equates to on the field on Sunday.
Well, and speaking of running backs, it turns out your boy Bob was right.
Not yet. Not yet. It hasn't happened yet. The bet was he plays on Sunday. I know that he's been pulled up to the roster, and I know that the plan is that he is going to play on Sunday.
I believe that the bet was he will play.
Right. He will play. He hasn't played yet.
I mean,
the bet is not won until we see him on the field.
Doesn't even run a game. If he's in the 53-man roster, he's playing.
No. Come on, man.
You're reaching now, but he's going to play regardless.
Yes, he is.
I told you.
Unless something happens.
And I was right, and when I'm right, I'm right. And I'm often right.
Yeah, well, I think you're right.
It hurts, doesn't it? It hurts. It hurts.
It really hurts. I just don't want to go buy you a drink.
But yeah, dude, and everything I've heard from him, what we talked about him becoming a better person, I've heard him in press conferences, and dude, I think he is. I think he learned, we talked about how you're just dumb at 23. Like you're just dumb. It's everybody is. And with that much money and being dumb, I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster,
It is.
Just look at our top wide receiver. I mean,
I think he's just saying the right thing. He's just saying what he thinks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Andy,
he wasn't on a team. To be pulled to the Chiefs.
But okay, that's another thing. I found out that last year with the Browns, he was hurt the entire year and had to have surgery to repair it was something maybe in his groin. But yeah, he had to have surgery in the off season, but he was hurt the entire year. So he still had 9 TDs and 400 some yards. So, I mean, tough too. But yeah, if you listen to him, he went to the Browns as his hometown. I assume family was there. He was able to get himself right. Patrick Mahomes talked about how he invited him to his wedding and he came, and they were all supportive of him, and he really, he sounds like he's a different guy, and I think that's pretty cool. I had forgotten that they were the same draft class. I had forgotten that. And we lost Kareem Hunt right before Mahomes got the start the next season. And man, can you imagine what we would have done if we had kept him and had the show we had in the air? Tyreek Hill, that could have been the greatest offense of all time.
Yeah, it was.
We had Morris for Patrick's first year, and it was serviceable, but it was like a poor man's steal, with what we have now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a hard time, I think, at first, just allowing myself to cheer for him, other than he's a Chief on the field. I hope that you're right, man, because I'm always rooting for the best in people, man. I hate to see a guy just take an opportunity like this and then do something stupid. That I mean, then I would feel like an asshole for even cheering for the guy. You know what I mean?
Andy
So
said that everybody on the Browns talked about how he was a complete professional and he had changed. I mean, the biggest thing
I
is
hope.
he lied to Clark Hunt, and he talked about it in his first presser, and he hadn't talked to Clark yet. And you could see it in his voice. He's like, well, I haven't talked to ownership yet, but I'm just hoping that my apology will be accepted. And I don't know what else to say about that. I screwed up, and yeah, I don't know, man. I think he sounds like a changed dude. He really does. And he claims that he has still got it. So he had surgery in the off season. We'll see. Andy thought he was in good enough shape to be brought up to the main roster this week. So,
well, of course he says he's still got it. What's he gonna say? Well, I'm at 80% of what I had 3 years ago, but that's good enough, right?
He said he said I'm gonna try to shock the world. So we'll see if he does.
I hope he does, but I'm quite happy with the way that the running back room kind of has been performing so far this year. So, hey, if he's even at that level or better, that's great. But I wonder how much rope they're going to give him if he's not good the first couple of games.
Well, I think he's going to be used sparingly. I don't think he's going to come in and be the starter. I think Carson Steele has earned that and is going to be the one. And, he has so many nicknames, but I guess Kelsey likes to call him Dundee. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Yeah, he likes to call him Dundee. And
Dundee.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about him. I think he's going to be really good this week too.
Yeah, well, I hope. He looked like he was really secure in the ball every time he touched it. I think that fumble was probably the best thing that could happen for him at this stage in his career because it's in his head, so he's going to hold on. I feel very secure when he's carrying the ball, and we know he's not going down when the first person touches him. So I love that.
He does kind of remind me of Kareem Hunt too, and Kareem Hunt had an early fumble when he first came to the Chiefs, and then he went for 200 and some snaps without having another one. And
I remember that.
Yeah, and when it happened, we were like, what just happened? Kareem doesn't fumble. And yeah, so I think that's gonna be a rare thing, and I'm excited about it. I don't know what else you want to talk about, but we are running close on time.
Yeah, no.
What are your concerns for this week?
Well, we kind of touched on the Mahomes thing, right?
What are your concerns about? Yeah, we talked a ton about our team. What about the Chargers?
Okay. I'm concerned that it's a trap. You just don't know what you're getting with backups, and who knows? They could be, Tom Brady could be on their bench. He just hasn't been found yet, and this week he's going to get discovered. It just seems like that kind of thing happens when we play these guys. Not these guys as the Chargers, but I mean any team. It just as a Chiefs fan, it seems to always happen to us. I'm sure as a Raiders fan, it probably always happens to the Raiders. That the backups come out and play fantastic. But that's what I'm worried about is losing this game.
Well,
because I don't think it's a losable game.
Any AFC West opponent is going to be scary, regardless of if the team's good at the time. Like that's That's just kind of how divisional games work.
Yeah,
A lot of the time.
I'm also worried about Derwin James. That dude is a legitimate badass, and he has a thing for Kelsey. Remember that tackle of a couple of seasons ago when he spearheaded him like onto the ground?
No, I
It
don't.
was huge, man. You should just Google it or go onto YouTube and just type in Derwin James Kelsey tackle, and I guarantee you it's going to be right there. It
Wow.
was brutal, and you'll see it, and you'll be like, I do remember that. So they have history. They both respect each other as great players, but Derwin James he's a beast, man. He is a monster out there. So he definitely concerns me.
So I'm worried. I'm worried about the Chargers run game. So you would think that with Justin Herbert out, if he doesn't play, that would make me relaxed, but it actually doesn't, because they run way more than they pass. I mean, they are a run first team. Like, they're a team where it could be 3rd and 7 and they might still run. Even with Herbert in, I mean, they're a run team, and so that part scares me, just because it could wear the D down. And we've been good against the run, but they're probably going to really capitalize on the run game, especially if Herbert's out, and that scares me. On top of that, anytime a backup QB with not a lot of film plays against the Chiefs in the Andy Reid era, I get scared, because okay, I guess it isn't Andy Reid, it's Spags, but Spags does great when he has tape, but maybe second guesses himself when he doesn't have tape, and backup QBs have torched us in the past. And so those are the two things I'm scared about, but basically mostly run game.
Yeah, I think the run game is the one thing I kind of feel the most comfortable about. Just like you said, I mean, we've done well against the run, but a team that focuses on the run and does well with the run could be troublesome. Definitely.
Yep. And if anybody listening to this, if you're telling me, oh, looking at the stats, we have had 3 games and you cannot count Lamar Jackson's runs as our run D. If you take those stats out, our run D has been phenomenal.
Yeah, well, you can't take those away.
Yeah, but
that's the thing about stats. But no, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
When they're playing a traditional offense, when they're not playing the Ravens, because let's be honest, Lamar Jackson is it's a whole different offense.
Yep.
And there's nobody else out there like him, including Mahomes.
But
so
I think we still win this.
I feel like it too. I mean, I know I said I wanted a game that wasn't down to the last play, and we got it. It was still down to the last drive. But man, I'd really love to just like go into the 2-minute warning, like up 27-17, like, oh, and Mahomes is getting it back. They're just going to kneel it for 2 minutes. Whoo. All right. I mean, just let me be a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
Just let me,
let me breathe.
I love watching I love watching blowouts. I do. And you know what? I hope the refs have a much better game this week.
Okay. All right. Well, got anything else for us at the end here?
Yeah. The trivia question. So, did you have a chance to come up with a trivia question for me, or are we just going to do it for the listeners?
We'll just do it for the listeners. Okay. I've got one in my head, but I'll save it for later.
Okay. All right. Because I got a good one, but I'll save it. Yeah. So, which Chiefs quarterback holds the team record for most passing yards in a single game? So we'll bring that answer to you after the game on Sunday. Do you think you know who it is, Bob?
I think I do, yeah.
All right. All right. I'm not going to give you any clues, but I'm curious who you might think it is. All right. Cool.
All right, well.
So that's what we got.
All right, well, guys, do not forget to follow us everywhere. It's Buck and Bob, BUKNBOB. Sometimes you put a space between the N and the names, and sometimes you don't. Just search both, and you'll find us. The best way to find us is our link tree, and that's linktr.ee/BUKNBOB. Buck, where can we find you?
I'm on Facebook as always, and you can find me on Twitter. That's at Bucktastic, BUK_BA. Wait, TASTIK. BUK_TASTIK.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. We're gonna leave you guys, and yeah, we'll see you after the win next week.
Yeah, buddy. Go Chiefs!
Chiefs. Kansas City.
Right.